Ever wondered about an engine so catastrophic it wiped out an entire car brand? Or one that drained over $400 million in warranty claims? These aren't your run-of-the-mill mechanical hiccups. We're talking about automotive nightmares that keep engineers up at night and accountants reaching for the antacids. These 15 engines represent the absolute bottom of the barrel in car manufacturing. From pistons with wanderlust to turbos that treat explosions as a hobby, these power plants have earned their place in the Hall of Shame. So, let's take a look at what happens when good intentions meet bad design, and how these mechanical misfires left their mark on automotive history. You're Cadillac in 1981, and you're facing another oil crisis. Gas prices are soaring, making your big V8s look like relics of the past. But you've got a solution: the L62 V8-6-4 engine. This new power plant promises V8 performance when needed, with the fuel economy of a smaller engine during cruising. The V8-6-4's key feature is its ability to shut down cylinders when they're not needed. The engine's computer would deactivate 2 or 4 cylinders during light load conditions, theoretically saving fuel. It's an innovative concept, but there's a catch. 1981 computers weren't exactly known for their processing prowess. In reality, the V8-6-4 performed about as smoothly as a jackhammer. The engine constantly hesitated, surged, and stalled as it struggled to determine the optimal number of active cylinders. Drivers experienced a host of issues, from poor acceleration to rough idling, that made their luxury Cadillacs feel more like budget cars with misfiring engines. The problems were so widespread that Cadillac dealers were overwhelmed with complaints. Many resorted to disconnecting the cylinder deactivation system entirely, effectively turning it back into a standard V8. After just 1 year, Cadillac quietly discontinued the engine, but the damage was already done. The V8-6-4 became a symbol of unreliability, casting a long shadow over Cadillac's reputation. You might think this would serve as a cautionary tale for other luxury brands. But as we'll see, another prestigious marque across the Atlantic was about to embark on its own ambitious engine project, with equally disastrous results. Your triumph in the early 1970s. You've got a vision. Create a luxury grand tourer that can go toe-to-toe with the best of Europe. The Stag rolls off the production line, and it's a looker. Sleek lines, removable hardtop, weekend getaway written all over it. But there's a problem lurking under that beautiful bonnet, and it's about to turn thousands of dream cars into driveway ornaments. The culprit? A 3.0-liter V8 engine that looked impressive on paper but performed like a chocolate teapot in reality. The cooling system seemed designed by someone who'd skipped thermodynamics class, leading to constant overheating. This meant frequent head gasket failures and, often, catastrophic engine damage. How bad was it? So bad that many Stag owners decided the best fix was a complete heart transplant. They ditched the troublesome Triumph V8 for more reliable Ford or Rover engines. When your luxury car owners are begging for an organ donor, you know you've got issues. The financial hit was just as painful as the mechanical one. Repair bills often exceeded the car's value, and with only about 25,000 Stags ever produced, finding spare parts became a treasure hunt of its own. You might think this was a one-off disaster for British luxury cars, but hold that thought, because our next stop proves that even the most prestigious nameplates can create engines worthy of the scrap heap. Your Jaguar in the early 1970s. You've just unveiled your crown jewel, a V12 engine that's supposed to redefine automotive excellence. On paper, it's a masterpiece. With 272 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque, it's ready to take on the best luxury cars of the era. Car enthusiasts are drooling, and motoring journalists are singing its praises. You're on top of the world. But then reality hits. Your beautiful V12 starts showing its true colors, and they're not pretty. Overheating becomes so common that Jaguar owners start wondering if they've accidentally signed up for a mobile sauna club. The engine leaks more fluids than a poorly maintained swimming pool. And the electrical system? It's about as reliable as a weather forecast in London. The repair costs are enough to make your wallet cry. We're talking, should I fix the car or take a luxury vacation? Levels of expense. Jaguar's reputation takes a nosedive faster than a skydiver without a parachute. Sales plummet, and by the 1980s, Jaguar is in serious financial trouble. It turns out that having a flagship engine with a tendency to leave you stranded isn't exactly a winning business strategy. So you're thinking, surely modern engines are more dependable, right? Well, hold on to your hats, because our next stop involves a more recent disaster that proves even in the 21st century, cutting-edge technology can lead to cutting-edge problems. Imagine your Mazda in 2006. You've just rolled out the 2.3-liter disi turbo engine, and it's turning heads. This power plant is a technological marvel, featuring direct injection for improved fuel efficiency and performance. Car magazines can't stop raving about its smooth power delivery and impressive output. Mazda executives are feeling pretty good about themselves, convinced they've struck automotive gold. But then reality hits like a blown gasket. Owners start reporting issues with their new turbocharged Mazdas. The engines are failing at an alarming rate, leaving drivers with a choice between expensive repairs or an even more expensive paperweight. We're talking thousands of dollars just to keep these cars on the road. As if that wasn't enough, Mazda starts issuing technical service bulletins faster than you can say, "check engine light." Oil consumption issues? Yep. Performance problems? You bet. It's like a game of automotive bingo where every square costs you money. The fallout was swift and brutal. Mazda's reputation took a nosedive faster than their turbo cars could accelerate. When they were working, that is. Customer satisfaction ratings plummeted, and sales of turbocharged models started to resemble a ski slope, the downhill kind. What was supposed to be Mazda's ticket to the performance car big leagues turned into a cautionary tale about the perils of rushing new technology to market. So you're thinking, American brands must have their act together when it comes to engines, right? Well, get ready for a reality check, because our next stop involves a V6 that might make you reconsider that assumption. You're Chrysler in the late 90s. You've just introduced the 2.7-liter V6, a modern, efficient engine for your midsize cars. It's powering popular models like the Sebring and Intrepid. Everything seems great until owners start noticing something strange. Their engines are developing a thick, engine-killing sludge. The culprit? A perfect storm of design flaws. The water pump was inside the engine, so when it failed, coolant leaked into the oil. Narrow oil passages clogged easily. Before long, engines were failing left and right, often before owners had even paid off their cars. How bad was it? Imagine spending $4,000 to $6,000 on engine repairs only to have the same problem happen again a year later. That's the reality many Chrysler owners faced. The company faced multiple class action lawsuits, costing them millions in warranty claims and legal fees. The fallout was brutal. Chrysler's reputation in the midsize car segment took a nosedive. Sales of models with the 2.7-liter V6 plummeted. It turns out that when your engine is more likely to produce sludge than reliable transportation, customers tend to look elsewhere. So you're thinking Japanese brands must have their act together when it comes to engines, right? Well, our next stop involves a turbo problem from the land of the rising sun that might make you reconsider that assumption. You thought Subaru's 2.5-liter turbo engine was going to bring rally-bred performance to the streets. Well, it did, along with a whole host of problems. Used in popular models like the WRX STI from 2004 to 2009, this engine quickly became infamous for its self-destructive tendencies. Head gasket failures were so common that Subaru owners started treating them like an annoying rite of passage. The engine's thirst for oil was legendary, turning owners into amateur dipstick readers. Repair costs for head gasket replacements often hit the $3,000 mark, and that's if you caught the problem early. Leave it too long, and you might as well start shopping for a new engine. But wait, there's more. Ringland failures, especially in modified or heavily used vehicles, could turn your high-performance dream into a very expensive paperweight. Suddenly, that street-legal rally car was spending more time on a lift than on the road. Subaru's reputation took a nosedive. The brand known for reliability and performance found itself in a crisis of confidence among enthusiasts. They tried to fix things in later versions, tweaking the head gasket design and improving cooling systems. But for many owners, the damage was done, both to their engines and their faith in the brand. So you're thinking German engineering must be the pinnacle of reliability, right? Well, our next stop involves a Bavarian blunder that proves even precision has its price. You're Volkswagen in the late 1990s. You've just rolled out your new 1.8-liter turbo engine, and it's quickly becoming the centerpiece of your lineup. It's powering everything from sporty Golfs to luxurious Audis. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. But then the problems start. Owners begin noticing their engines are consuming oil faster than a camel drinks water in the desert. We're talking about cars guzzling a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. That's not an oil consumption rate, that's an oil addiction. The engine had a nasty habit of developing oil sludge. Those small oil passages, they were clogging up faster than a college dorm's shower drain. And those extended oil change intervals Volkswagen was so proud of. They were setting the stage for disaster. To make matters worse, the timing belt had a tendency to fail prematurely. When it did, the repair bill often ran into the thousands. It was like the engine was designed to self-destruct. The fallout was brutal. Volkswagen and Audi's reputation for reliability took a nosedive. They faced a barrage of warranty claims and class action lawsuits. The exact cost? Let's just say it was enough to make even a German accountant break out in a cold sweat. So you're thinking American brands must have diesel engines figured out, right? Well, our next stop involves a Ford engine that proves even the biggest names can make big mistakes when it comes to complex truck power plants. Imagine you're Ford in 2003, and you've just unveiled a diesel engine so powerful it could tow a house. But what if that powerhouse of an engine became your biggest headache, leaving a trail of frustrated owners and billion-dollar lawsuits in its wake? Welcome to the saga of the 6.0-liter Power-Stroke diesel, where more torque meant more trouble. Ford's 6.0-liter Power-Stroke was supposed to be the king of truck engines. With impressive torque figures and cutting-edge technology, it initially won over truck enthusiasts and critics alike. But as owners started racking up miles, the engine's dark side emerged. The list of problems read like a mechanic's nightmare. From faulty fuel injectors to oil cooler failures, the issues seemed endless. Owners found themselves on a first-name basis with their local Ford dealership service department. And those visits weren't cheap. Major repairs could cost thousands, with some unlucky drivers facing bills that rivaled the price of a used car. The frequency of these repairs was staggering. One owner lamented, "I bought this truck to work, but it spent more time in the shop than on the job site. It was like throwing money into a black hole." The fallout was brutal. Ford's reputation in the truck market took a nosedive. They faced numerous lawsuits, including a bitter legal battle with Navistar, the engine's manufacturer. The financial hit was massive, with warranty claims and legal fees costing Ford hundreds of millions of dollars. So you're thinking General Motors must have learned from Ford's mistakes, right? Well, our next stop involves a GM engine that proves even the largest automakers can misfire when it comes to small car power plants. General Motors thought they had cracked the code for small car success with their 2.2-liter ecotech engine. Promising efficiency and reliability, it instead delivered a series of problems that would haunt GM for years to come. Your GM in the early 2000s. Your newly rolled-out ecotech engine family is powering popular models like the Chevrolet Cavalier and Pontiac Sunfire. On paper, it looks great. A modern, efficient four-cylinder that should keep your compact cars competitive. But there's trouble brewing under those shiny valve covers. The 2.2-liter ecotech had a knack for self-destruction. Timing chain failures and head gasket issues were common, often leading to catastrophic engine damage. But the real kicker? The engine's penchant for corroding freeze plugs. After about 50,000 miles, these components would start to fail, causing coolant leaks and overheating issues. It's as if the engine was designed to fail in as many ways as possible. These problems weren't just inconvenient, they were financially devastating for owners. Many engines failed before hitting the 100,000-mile mark, leaving drivers with repair bills that could easily exceed $2,000. For a car that was supposed to be economical, this was a bitter pill to swallow. The fallout was severe. GM's reputation in the compact car market took a serious hit. Consumers started avoiding models equipped with the 2.2-liter ecotech like they were toxic waste. Despite the issues, GM kept producing this engine until 2008, seemingly determined to see just how much damage one power plant could do to a company's reputation. So you're thinking German luxury brands must have their act together when it comes to high-performance engines, right? Well, our next stop involves a Bavarian blunder that proves even precision engineering can come at a high price. Your BMW in 2006, unveiling your crown jewel, a twin-turbo inline-six that's supposed to redefine automotive excellence. With 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque, It's ready to take on the best sports cars of the era. Car enthusiasts are drooling, and motoring journalists are comparing it to Toyota's legendary 2JZ engine. You're on top of the world. But then reality hits. Your beautiful N54 starts showing its flaws, and not in a good way. High-pressure fuel pump failures become a common issue, while turbo problems lead to reduced power and increased emissions. The repair costs? Let's just say owners start questioning their life choices. One frustrated owner put it bluntly, "The N54 engine has been a headache. I've had to replace multiple components, and the costs have been eye-watering." BMW's response? Extended warranties that barely scratch the surface of the problem. The company's reliability ratings took a significant hit. It turns out that having a flagship engine more likely to leave you stranded than get you to your destination isn't great for business. Who knew? So you're thinking, Toyota must have their act together when it comes to reliability, right? Well, get ready for a rare misstep from the Japanese giant that proves even the most dependable brands can stumble. Now imagine you're Toyota in the late 1980s, riding high on your reputation for reliability. But your next move is about to put a dent in that image. The 3.0-liter V6 engine, introduced in popular models like the 4Runner, Pickup, and T100, looked great on paper. In reality, it was a problem waiting to happen. The engine had a serious flaw. It blew head gaskets, often before hitting the 100,000-mile mark. For owners, this meant unexpected breakdowns and hefty repair bills. One frustrated customer said, "I bought a Toyota for reliability, but this engine has cost me more than my first car." Toyota tried to address the issue with a silent recall, replacing faulty gaskets and offering extended warranties. But the damage was done. The company's reliability ratings took a hit, and customer satisfaction scores for vehicles with the 3.0-liter V6 dropped significantly. This wasn't just a financial setback for Toyota. Their reputation, built on decades of dependability, was suddenly in question. It was a stark reminder that even the most trusted brands can make mistakes. And as we're about to see, Toyota wasn't alone in facing engine troubles. Oldsmobile was about to launch an innovation that would come with its own set of expensive problems. What if you're Oldsmobile in the late 1970s, facing an oil crisis that's made your gas-guzzling V8s about as popular as warm beer on a hot day? Your solution? Diesel engines. More fuel efficient, right? What could go wrong? As it turns out, everything. Instead of designing a new diesel engine from scratch, Oldsmobile decided to convert their existing gasoline V8. The result was the 5.7-liter V8 diesel, an engine so problematic it made car buyers avoid diesels for decades. The engine's design was a textbook example of poor engineering. Head bolts would shear off, leading to catastrophic failures. Owners faced repair bills of over $3,000 in 1980s money. That's about $9,000 today for an engine that should have lasted much longer. Performance was equally disappointing. With only 120 horsepower, this engine turned Oldsmobile's full-size cars into mobile chicanes. Drivers reported struggles to maintain highway speeds, especially on inclines. The fallout was severe. A class action lawsuit was filed against GM, and Oldsmobile's reputation plummeted. Dealerships reported customers trading in nearly new cars, desperate to get rid of their diesel nightmares. Some owners even resorted to engine swaps, preferring the cost of a new gasoline engine over the constant headaches of the diesel. The 5.7-liter V8 diesel's failure had far-reaching consequences. It not only damaged Oldsmobile's brand, but also set back the entire diesel passenger car market in the US by years. Competitors who had been considering diesel options quickly shelved their plans, unwilling to risk the same backlash. So, you'd think other automakers would learn from these mistakes, right? Well, our next stop involves another V6 failure that proves even mass-market engine production can be a minefield of problems. You're Ford in the late 1980s. Your 3.8-liter V6 engine is powering everything from family sedans to minivans. It seems perfect for the average American family. The only problem? This engine had a serious flaw. The 3.8-liter V6 was prone to coolant leaks and head gasket failures, often before hitting 100,000 miles. Owners faced steep repair costs, sometimes in the thousands of dollars. Ford tried to fix the issue by redesigning the head gaskets, but for many, it was too late. The consequences were severe. Ford's reputation in the midsize car and minivan markets took a hit. Sales declined as customer confidence waned. The engine that was supposed to be the backbone of Ford's lineup became its Achilles heel. Eventually, Ford had no choice but to discontinue the troublesome power plant. You'd think car companies would have learned their lesson about rushing engine designs by now. But our next stop involves a more recent Chrysler mishap that shows some mistakes are hard to shake. Your Chrysler in 2013, rolling out your shiny new 2.4-liter tigershark engine. It's quickly becoming the heart of your lineup, powering popular models like the Jeep Cherokee and Dodge Dart. Everything seems great until owners start noticing something strange. Their cars are burning through oil faster than a teenager with their first credit card at a mall. The problem? These engines are consuming oil at an alarming rate, way beyond normal wear and tear. We're talking about adding a quart every 1,000 miles in some cases. And it gets worse. Some owners reported their cars stalling out of nowhere, turning their daily commute into a game of automotive Russian roulette. FCA, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, is now facing multiple lawsuits, with owners alleging the company knew about the issues but kept quiet. FCA's response? They've offered extended warranties, but that's like trying to fix a leaky boat with duct tape. It might work for a while, but you're still going to get wet. The fallout has been brutal. FCA's reputation has taken a nosedive, and frustrated owners are left wondering if they'll ever trust the brand again. One customer summed it up: "I bought a car, not an oil tanker." So, you thought Japanese brands must have their act together when it comes to engines, right? Well, our next stop involves a Nissan nightmare that might make you think twice about that assumption. Now imagine your Nissan in 2002. Your new 2.5-liter QR25DE engine is rolling out, becoming the backbone of popular models like the Altima and Sentra. On paper, it looks great, but in reality, it's a ticking time bomb. Owners start noticing something odd. Their cars aren't just losing power, they're self-destructing. The culprit? A poorly designed pre-catalytic converter. As it disintegrates, pieces get sucked back into the engine, wreaking havoc on cylinder walls. It's like your car decided to eat itself for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The fallout is brutal. Repair costs skyrocket, ranging from $900 to $2,500 depending on the damage. Nissan's reputation takes a nosedive. Their market share in the mid-size car segment plummets faster than a skydiver without a parachute. Nissan scrambles to address the issue with service campaigns. But for many owners, it's a case of too little, too late. The long-term effects on their four-cylinder lineup are significant. Consumers start eyeing competitors' vehicles, not willing to gamble on potential engine failures and wallet-draining repairs. The QR25DE saga teaches a harsh lesson. Cutting corners in engine development is a recipe for disaster. It's not just about the immediate costs, it's about long-term trust. Nissan learned this the hard way, and their engine fiasco serves as a warning to the entire automotive industry. Next time you're tempted to rush a product to market, remember, sometimes slow and steady really does win the race. As we wrap up our tour of automotive engineering nightmares, a few key lessons emerge. Many of these disasters stemmed from rushed development and misguided attempts at innovation. The automotive industry learned the hard way that cutting corners on testing or overcomplicating designs can lead to catastrophic failures. These engineering missteps had far-reaching consequences. Some brands saw their reputations crumble, while others managed to weather the storm. But even industry giants weren't immune to the fallout from major mechanical failures. The overarching message? Reliability is the foundation of consumer trust in the automotive world. When engines fail, it damages more than just metal and oil. It erodes the relationship between car and driver. These cautionary tales serve as expensive reminders that in the pursuit of innovation, durability, and thorough testing should always be top priorities. The road to automotive excellence is paved with lessons learned from past failures, driving the industry towards a future of more dependable and thoughtfully engineered vehicles.